Everybody, welcome back to another podcast episode in our series here. And so today for you guys, on April 13th, 2023, we'll be discussing the overall Boise, Idaho market for 2023, the trends that all three of us are seeing, and just kind of give you guys an overview of everything that's going on and just a general consensus of a good update. And so, once again, I'm Andrew Marshall with MHC Realty, and I'm joined here with my two co-hosts. I'll let them introduce themselves.
How's it going, everyone? I am Parker Morgan over at Fidelity National Title.
Awesome. Rick Gillespie at CMG Mortgage.
Awesome. And so, the idea today is to take all three of our perspectives on the current status of the market, reflect back on what we saw during the craziness of COVID, 2020, 2021, and then as things kind of tailored down in 2020, and then we're kind of seeing an uptick now, which is also very exciting, and kind of to help prepare you guys for what we believe. Granted, we don't have a crystal ball, which would be nice, but just kind of to let you guys know what we think, our general expertise of what we think is coming, how to best prepare you guys for that, and how to help you guys succeed. And so we figured we would start off with Rick's perspective.
Sure.
Now that he is over at CMG.
Right.
And he has a lot more tools at his disposal.
Right.
What are you guys kind of seeing right now? And then, I'll reflect on what I'm seeing as far as the real estate market goes. And then we'll hand it on over to Parker for the title side. So
Absolutely. So on our side, on the lending side, it's been really interesting because obviously interest rates took a big hit last March, and it kind of put everybody in a stall mode. You saw it with agents. You saw it with people trying to buy. It just priced people out of the market. So we had high home prices. We had high interest rates. So affordability, which we talk a lot about on our podcast, is it became very challenging for people to even want to buy or even afford to buy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're kind of at a standstill.
Yeah, and so, the creativity kicked in with, the interest rate buy downs. Also, couple that with recently, you're seeing prices they're coming down, not a lot.
Getting more realistic.
Yeah, they're settling, and we knew that was going to happen. It had to, right?
Oh, yeah.
The other piece is the builders and / sellers are getting more creative with buying the interest rate down for people to get affordability.
Which is great incentive, yeah.
Right, and so that's been helpful. But we still have this challenge that people need to be aware of. If you're thinking about getting in the market, here we go. We're heading in. It's almost time for people to get done with school.
Yep.
That's typically when people like to list and make a move or buy something new is, this time of year. We're getting close. They're thinking about it, so you need to be aware. Do your homework ahead of time, but we still have a lack of inventory within our area. It hasn't quite
caught up yet, yeah.
Right, and so you go, well, what's that going to trigger? And I'd love your guys' perspective on that, but from my side, what I typically see is what tends to happen is we get back into that frantic mode of when you list, you're having people coming in and you're getting 10 offers, maybe they're asking for over.
Yep.
Right, the
a lot
seller
of crazy things go on.
Yeah, the seller concessions. The seller concessions tend to go away, so it makes the affordability more challenging. So I've encouraged my clients is like, now is not a bad time to consider. Yes, it is not ideal for you to be moving right now, but maybe you go. And here's a concept that I just pitched earlier today: is you go and make that offer. And they accept your offer, but you rent back on your old place.
Yeah.
You don't move into the new one till the kids are out of school or whatever. Get creative with your agent.
Yep, you have to.
Right, and maybe get in now while there's still the ability to negotiate. Because I feel like because of that low inventory, the supply and demand is going to pressure people, and it's going to become a seller's market real quick.
Yep.
And next thing you know, the ability to kind of negotiate those things just might go away. So
No, absolutely. And I think to your point, we will see what happened in 2020 and 2021 circle back to some extent.
right,
Because you can only have so many houses in the market circulating. Builders can only produce so much. Just the other day I was talking to a builder.
yeah,
They're 8 to 9 months out.
right.
And so you can't just make, houses magically
Right.
appear out of nowhere.
And
So,
that's a great point. Is you can, there's metrics we can look at, and one of them is, and you see it probably quite a bit, Parker, is who's pulling for permits. When
Yeah,
these
exactly.
builders are dealing with this pullback, they still got to go through the process, pull the permit, get the foundation in the ground, go vertical. That doesn't happen in 30 days.
it takes a while.
Yeah. So
Right?
we were talking to a developer the other day that said, I just wish these building companies would communicate a little bit better about where they're going to build and what they're going to
Sure.
want to do, so we can
Yeah.
get the machine moving instead of stalling out.
Kind of dilly
Yeah, on
dally.
It's
inventory,
so
yeah.
hyper high and then so hyper low to where you're kind of like, could we kind of maybe land in the middle a little bit, right?
Yeah, show your cards just a little bit.
Just a little
ju-
bit, yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
keep it
We're
going.
not asking for a lot here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But again, they're so busy playing off each other, trying to not give up the hand so that the other one can take advantage. You're like, that you don't need to play that game in this market,
have you guys heard anything about like building material costs, like where those are at right now?
Yes and no, but it fluctuates so, every other day, I feel like.
So I will speak to that. So I had a gentleman that was going to build in Garden Valley. He got a builder pack, the whole deal, to build a year ago.
Mhm.
So the house, just to go vertical, he already owns the land. The cost to do that was $780,000.
Whoa,
We're just talking turnkey. Okay.
crazy.
So here we are, literally not quite 12 months later. And he said significantly the two things that have changed within that whole breakdown, it's down to 650. But the significant two categories were lumber and concrete.
Yeah.
Now he's in Garden Valley, so that's kind of not a perfect scenario of cost because they got to go so far to deliver.
Yeah.
But he was astonished on how much the cost of concrete came down and lumber. Now, the other pieces were, roofing came down, but not to the level that those two came down. Now, that was literally as of a week ago. So,
That's good perspective, though.
right. And I think what you're seeing there, but that could change because here we go cycling again. As soon as those builders realize, all right, everybody's happy, we're in a new settle, prices are good. Okay, fine. I'm gonna go ahead and spec up 5 homes because the inventory's so low. You're gonna have this supply demand issue again on lumber.
And I
here we
just
go.
saw that.
Now, I don't think we're gonna have near the level of, because I think some of the windows. Remember, we had trouble with windows,
Yep.
garage doors. That was kind of COVID-driven supply chain issue. It's not fully resolved, but it's getting better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is going to be a supply-demand challenge, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, in this one specific builder that I'm working with right now, talked to him the last couple of months, got really serious trying to help some first-time homebuyers right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest challenge for him is he said, Andrew, I'm so sorry. I have to send you a updated inventory list. And why that's good and bad is the bad part of that, just so you guys are aware, the prices have gone up, not significantly, but about $1,000 across the board. So he said, I'm going to send that over to you right now so that when we meet tomorrow, your
Sure.
clients don't have any surprises. You set the expectation that prices are going up, not dramatically, but we want to be transparent. And I liked that because it set the expectation, sent it over to my clients. They were aware of what's going on so that they're not blindsided going into that meeting tomorrow.
Sure.
So, what's great about this is they'll still be able to afford and get into a house, especially since, I won't say any particular builder, but a lot of them are offering this like $25K promo
Right.
to build from where you go out, you find the lot that you want, and then based on if it's going to be a certain spec home, for example, or all custom,
Right.
typically it's spec, just because they buy in bulk and they're able to save that way for any of the supplies, especially with lumber, concrete, all that going up. And so it's a good way for them to cut costs as well, but you still get a good quality product. You just don't get to specialize or customize anything.
Sure.
So as long as you guys are okay with that, it's still a win-win. But the best part about that $25K promo, to Rick's point earlier, is you can use that to either buy the rate down, you know, and that is in one of our other podcasts that we talked about. I think it was episode 2,
Right.
or actually our first podcast, where we talked about how to beat inflation with a rate buy down.
Right.
So if you guys do want to find out more info, please check that out. It's very informative. Rick goes into great detail about it in there. But just to scratch the surface of that again, that's really awesome because builders don't have to offer any incentive. I think they should, obviously,
Sure.
and it depends on the month that you're buying. There could be greater, you know, incentives going on. There could be no incentives going on. But in this particular month that we're in, they have this $25K promo going on. And so, yeah, what better incentive to get you amped up as a buyer
Sure.
to go in and feel like they have your best interest in mind. And, you know, with things going up, inflation going on, every little bit helps. And I think you can actually use that too for any of your closing costs.
Yeah, so
So-
you got to understand. You bring up a great point. I don't know if you've probably seen it, Parker. You can probably, let's ask you, have you seen across the board, a lot of these builders are removing those incentives, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, time is of the essence for sure.
Right.
Like,
And that's
especially
what I
going
figured,
into
yeah.
summer, like, it'll pick up again. They don't have to really give that to you at all. So,
Because this is just to get people in the door, get people interested, in my opinion. And,
Yeah.
and I think you can speak to that too.
and from a
what you've seen.
consumer side, I mean, that's huge. Like, that's
Oh.
not that big of a hit for a builder, but it's huge for affordability and being
Especially
able
if
to
they
bring the
wait,
payment
too.
down. And yeah, so it's a big deal. Or if you need appliances put in your house or blinds
Right.
or whatever it
Yeah,
is, I mean,
yeah.
it's
And
it's a big
closing
thing.
costs are huge too.
Yeah.
So, you know, if
So,
they did
really
wait.
quick, just to kind of speak to that supply demand, because obviously we had some quiet times there, and you probably saw it. What are the volumes like in the title world to where we can speak to this? Hey, it's coming, folks. Are you seeing an uptick in your orders, or what's going
Yeah,
on in your
spiders, the
world?
tide turning.
Absolutely. As far as purchase and residential, I mean, it's definitely starting to tick upwards.
Okay. Because you do have specific relationships with builders within your little, your marketing crew, or what do you guys deal with?
Or
yeah,
certain
so
people you go to.
we have some new construction guys that come in all the time to pick up their checks and developers and stuff. But they're always talking about how, like, as far as labor goes, how that's always going up and complaining
Right.
about the
Right.
cost, and
See that, yeah.
it's getting harder and harder to make 80 grand per transaction. Like,
Yeah, well, and
Well,
margins start to get squeezed, right? And so it's really interesting to me. Like, I think in the next 2 months, there's going to be a shift. And so
Reality will set in a little bit.
Speaking to your point, right now, if there's incentives out there,
go get them.
Well, and that's the reason why buyers are coming out of the woodwork right now, because without these incentives, especially for the time of year that we're in, not a lot of people like to go out, statistically speaking, when it's cold, rainy,
sure.
We're talking
Nope.
winter.
right?
And this has been the longest winter like ever.
Sure.
And they do have data to back that up. But now that we're actually seeing
The link will be below.
Scoreboard.
it was not a disclaimer.
Yeah, right.
And so, now that we're actually seeing like somewhat of a uptick in nicer weather, at least on Monday.
A little
Then we
bit,
got snow
yep.
yesterday. So I don't know what's going on, but our weather's being bipolar right now. So hopefully it'll
Welcome to
be more
Idaho.
consistent. And so once the weather starts picking up, to your point, these builders might not be offering these incentives to get people in the door for new
Right.
construction, as you've seen too. And so I would say if you are thinking about buying right now, now's the time to do it. Don't let FOMO get the best of you.
Right.
Months from now, when you say, oh man, we should have gone and filled out this application and see what we could have qualified for.
Right.
Because it's as simple as even just contacting Rick
Right.
and getting, a pre-approval letter
So
drafted up.
I would speak
So-
to that and say, yes, I'm a lender. Reach out. I would love to do this. But any lender should be able to do this for you. Take the 20 minutes. If a lender takes longer than that to help you out, I'm just going to say it out loud. They're not good at what they do.
Mm.
Or they're pushing you down the road because they don't want to do the work.
Yeah,
right?
put in the legwork for you.
And I love it. Reach out. I'll take 20 minutes with you, and I'll put you in a position to say, well, wait a minute, I can do this, and let's go knock on some doors. Now, if it doesn't work out now, and it's free.
That's the best part. It doesn't cost you guys anything.
All it really costs you is about 20 to 30 minutes to find out.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. And what it does is it puts you in a position of yes or no. It's not, well, maybe. No, I'll give you a clear picture, and then you can then share with them, hey, we can go knock on this door, this door, this door. These are the incentives that are going on.
Well, information is everything in this industry too. If you don't have the
Yeah.
right information and you're not passing that along as me as the agent, or Rick and I aren't communicating that to you guys, then we've failed. And so we always try and touch base before contacting you guys. So that A, we're giving you that information, B, we're not leading you astray, and C, you guys can succeed when we do get to the finish line for your dream house. And we did talk about, the whole setting the expectation so that, from the start to finish in our other podcast, which had Parker in it too, where we basically took you guys through what all of our rules are from start to finish to get you guys successfully into your house. And so, if you guys go rewatch that too, it'll speak to what we're talking about here, because if you don't know what you're qualified for and we start going out and looking at houses, it could be a really bad situation where you fall in love with it and you can't afford it.
That's the thing.
And we want to prevent that. So
you go walking through these houses and you start to say, I want it.
Yep.
And next thing you know.
Because it's one thing to see a picture of it, but when you start picturing your kids in that house, your wife in that house, making memories in that house, or, oh man, this has like an RV parking on the side here. This is perfect for my side-by-side and this and that. Oh, I love the neighbors. Yeah, it gets bad quick. So
when you have to tell them no.
Try and avoid that, if at all possible, because we want you guys to be happy, not sad. So.
Right. Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Moral story. I love it.
But yeah, so, we feel like we've covered a lot of ground here.
Right.
Do you guys think that there's anything else that's super important that we should, kind of let them know about as far as, what we've already covered, or anything else come to mind for you guys?
I would just say that don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Call Andrew, call me, call Parker. Reach out. Let's get you guys educated so that we can reduce that stress. You never know. You might have an opportunity that you don't realize. Yeah.
And we're all here for you.
Yep.
We've, built a good relationship amongst our, little crew that we have here.
Yep.
We do this. We're so passionate about it. We started a podcast. So, we like what we do. We want to help you guys succeed.
Yep.
With all three of our resources, we feel like that is not only possible, but achievable. And so, we're always here for you guys. Hope you guys learned a lot from today's podcast. If you guys did like what you saw, please feel free to like and comment below. It does help the channel out a lot, and we always appreciate it. And we'll make sure between all three of our heads that we get back to you with the questions that you have answered. And so, once again, I'm Andrew Marshall with MHC Realty.
Okay. I'm Rick Gillespie at CMG Home Loans, actually. So there you go.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm Parker Morgan over at Fidelity National Title. Thank you guys for watching.
In the Valley.
Thank you guys for watching today, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.